This is episode 165. Genius Take the Wheel. Try to do my housekeeping here. If you're watching on demand, part of the replay crew, I salute you. Thank you so much for supporting me trying to better myself. Support me trying to grow this platform. Okay, so the title sounds defeatist. I feel defeated, but I'm not defeated. I'm not defeated. But man, I'm frustrated. Take you back to yesterday. I have been dealing with some knee soreness and pain on the left side. And I don't even really remember how it developed. I have some idea of how it could have started, but I don't really remember what was the coup de grace. But currently dealing with some inflammation. It feels like it's on the edge of my patella. Feels like it's kind of underneath the kneecap. And I went to go take a nap. I said, I'm going to take 400 milligrams of ibuprofen and see what happens. So I woke up from the nap. I looked for the pain in my knee. I couldn't find it. I was overjoyed. And I looked, kind of throughout my body. I don't have a cold. I don't have the Rona. I don't have, I hate it when people make me honk my horn. Like, come on, man. The issue with my lower back taken care of. The issue with my hip taken care of. The issue with the sciatic nerve problem in my right leg, completely, well, not completely, but like 90-something% better. Probably like 98% better. And I'm thinking to myself, like, now I can really get on a good run, try to put on some weight, get stronger in my legs so that when I'm ready to go through, more squats and stuff like that, things will get better and the whole nine, right? Wrong. Because my left knee is like, well, I see that you've gotten through all of these obstacles. Let's throw another obstacle in there. And, this one feels like, if I'm not careful, if I don't have structural issues now, I will have structural issues soon. again, at this age, you just can't afford it. You can't afford to have structural issues. So today I was going to try a 335-pound hack squat, which would be, for 3 reps, 3 sets. It would be a personal best for me. And I got through the first set with a little bit of weird feeling in my knee, just a little bit. And then I went to go into the second, went into the eccentric on the first, felt it. The pain was really bad, and basically trying to articulate my knee, more than like, really getting to 90 degrees is where it really hurts. But then when I go past 90 degrees to, like, really bringing my heels to my hamstring, it feels okay. And then bringing the leg out, it's just so weird. And I just don't understand why my body won't cooperate. It's always something else, Like I said, I've been through so many different injuries. I've been through, so many different situations where there's no real acute cause to any of it. It's just randomized. Hey, here's some inflammation and pain for no reason. Hey, is there something in my movement patterns that need to change? No. Did I, suffer from a slip and fall? No. Did I trip? No. Did I bang my knee on anything? Nope. Was there anything bad that I did to my body? Nope. We're just gonna throw some weird ass fucking pain. We're gonna throw the pain right in this knee for no reason. No, you will not get stronger. No, you will not get bigger legs. And I really try to keep especially on this platform, I really try to keep things positive for you guys because I don't want any of you guys to give up. And neither am I going to give up. But I also do need you guys to see what the frustrations could be like when you're actually trying to do something to make yourself better, to be better than you used to be, to look better, to feel better. It definitely is not in a straight line. And I have to own up to the frustrating nature of what this is. And I'm extremely frustrated. And, I've always, once I get going on something, I just want to go, 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 go. And I'm standing there in the gym feeling down, like, trying to, make sure that my legs still work so I can get to work. And I had to make the decision pretty much on the fly today to take the plates off the machine, to shut it down. And it makes me really angry. I want to lift heavy weight and I can't lift heavy weight, and now I'm mad. And I don't want to have a bad attitude. I don't want to get down on myself because nobody really cares anyway. But I'm really frustrated. Like I put the food in my body. I don't do drugs. I don't do alcohol. I don't do nothing stupid. I stay to myself. I try to encourage people. I try to inspire people. And then I try to get up early in the morning, go to the gym and lift heavy weight. And there's always something else to get in the way of what I'm trying to accomplish. So I'm frustrated. I'm not asking for $1 million. I'm not asking for Cindy Crawford in her prime. I just want to be able to squat and deadlift. What's up, Luffy? Mrs. Evil. I just want to be able to squat and deadlift in peace. So this is the new obstacle that I've got going now. This is what it is. So now I have to make a choice. And I'm gonna have to shut down squat motions probably for the next 2 weeks. And I really hate that the quiet thought in my head has now been said out loud on the platform, but I have to do it. I was the one who suggested gaming. I'm a gamer. I mean, at least I used to be, but you know, the gaming industry is just about shareholder value these days, so they don't care about the gamer. They don't care about us having fun. They just want to make rich people richer, which is not necessarily a bad thing, except for the word just. I don't mind that rich people get richer, but I do mind when it's just about rich people getting richer. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for coming by, Luffy. I appreciate you. But yeah, I'm really frustrated, y'all. And I know that I still need to do this stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So, um, my plan going forward is to still show up here on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. On Saturday, I plan to deadlift, and then do whatever upper body work I'm supposed to do because I can still deadlift. Thank goodness. So I'll be working hard on the hamstrings, flexibility, things like that. And I'm not going to barbell back squat or hack squat or leg press for the next 1 or 2 weeks, possibly going to be relegated to resting it for 2 weeks just to be sure. And again, like that makes me very unhappy. And it's really weird because there was a time where I didn't want to do any squat, anything. But once you start getting into squatting and you show yourself what you're capable of, it really does change a lot for you. There's a reason why you see people in the gym walking up to the squat rack with that certain quiet swagger. There's a reason, you know. And I really, I can't say that this is true anymore, but I used to really hate squatting. I would not go near it. Go give me a barbell that I can deadlift as heavy as possible. Give me that. Give me that. But these days, and it's just really crazy because I'm finally just starting to see the size and definition, in my legs coming in. And, I tell clients this all the time. You should always do the things that you don't want to do because the benefits that you get from doing the things. Catherine, how you doing? Thank you for coming by. When the accomplishment that you feel and then the benefits that you get from doing the things that you don't want to do, there are very few feelings like that in the world. There are very, very few feelings when you find the thing that you least enjoy doing and then you just go and you just knock it out the park. And then after a while, you get used to it. It becomes part of your life. You come to expect it. You come to anticipate it. And then it's like this one thing that I really hated doing. Now it's taken away from me, and I'm unhappy. So there's a little bit of irony in that. There's a little bit of irony in that. Thank you for blocking me from changing lanes. I appreciate you. Thank you. When I was in Germany, I would hesitate before trying to merge into a lane because I was always kind of half expecting somebody to pull up to block me from changing lanes. And I love it when somebody blocks you from changing lanes, and when you look in their direction, you can tell that they can see you in their peripheral vision, because most people when they come to a rolling stop, they kind of look around. you know the person acts like they have a neck brace on, right? Like, like they have a neck injury, they can't move their neck is stone cold locked up, because if they let somebody in traffic, it's just the worst thing that could ever happen to them in their lives. But in Germany, we don't have traffic jam. They didn't have traffic jams like we have here, and I'm really starting to see why. They don't have the type of traffic jams we have because people share the road willingly, not begrudgingly. They willingly share the road, and it keeps the traffic moving quicker. If you want to know more about some of the insights that I got uh, driving around in Germany, definitely check the latest video that we have up on the Talking Shit podcast. Definitely go check that out, because I do think that you guys will see, maybe it's expected, perhaps maybe an unexpected perspective. Mrs. Evil and I collaborated on that. We collaborated on that video, so definitely go check that out, and say hi to us in the comments, and give your perspective as well. So yeah, I'm gonna show up to Genius Take the Wheel number 166 on Saturday. I will be, warming up my hamstrings, preparing to deadlift 335. Probably 5 sets of 3, and then whatever else I'm supposed to do on Saturday. Today's Thursday, so I guess that'll be a chest day and a flat focused chest day. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to it, because there are a couple of decent machines I had not really looked at before at my gym. They're not as good as the Berlin Gold's Gym, but they're cool machines. And my gym, I think there's some city ordinance or something where you cannot install old equipment in your gym. If you already have it, you're allowed to keep it. So it's just one of those things where um, it's just one of those things where they have some vintage machines and stuff, and I think that's cool. But I really like some of the new stuff that they have out there from, as technology has gotten better. So, it is what it is. It is what it is. Um, um, but yeah, I'm just gonna try to build up my deadlift, monitor my knee, but I'm just not gonna do any squat motions for the foreseeable future. Probably the next week to 2 weeks. And hopefully, with, my nerve issues finally having improved, and um, really the only physical problem until, when my knee clears up, because my knee will probably clear up, but then it'll probably be something else. I'm really going to hope that there is nothing else. Um, and and that I could just kind of, get out my program. I've been consuming elevated calories so that my weight will go up. I'm not enjoying this process at all. I will get used to it, but then I'm kind of wondering, I've always been a skinny dude, but if I keep expanding the amount of calories that I eat, will I get used to it and become fat? That would be, that would be something, right? So, Guy, you're, let's go. Good God Almighty. You jump onto the highway, the speed limit is 50 miles an hour, and you want to drive at 37. You jumped into my lane when I was at the speed limit. You forced me to jam on my brake, and then you want to drive 13 miles an hour under the speed limit on the highway. And I don't understand if people understand just how dangerous that is to not merge properly on the highway and get up to highway speed. Maybe not a good plan, especially for the knee. I think it's a great plan. I'm just going to deadlift, no squat motions, let my knee rest for 2 weeks, and then reassess. If I have to take more time, I have to take more time. But I'm going to continue to focus on some of my upper body stuff, which I have been. I have been really improving, my back, my chest. There have been some pretty marked improvements. Oh my God. Come on, come on, come on, guy. Yeah, so I've seen some pretty great improvements. I'm going to continue to keep my calorie count elevated. I'm going to continue to work my hamstrings and trying to shore up places in my body that could use some more uh, improvements. Um, and then when my knee can withstand a little bit of weight here, a little bit of weight there, then I will go back to maximum strength approach again for my legs. So um, yeah, so switching gears from a very frustrating week. um, I really hope the people of Western Florida, the western part of the Panhandle, and I guess the east, because that storm really just ripped right across the center of the state. Really hope those people are okay. I heard that a tornado actually caused um, a fatality. That there were a series of tornadoes ahead of the storm. The storm, thank goodness, didn't reach What was the name of that movie? The Day After Tomorrow. Thank you. I thought of a different film, the one where they had to like repeat things over and over again with Tom Cruise. The Edge of Tomorrow. Um, I really hope those people in Florida are doing okay. But one of the things I do notice from people who, let's just say, they vote a certain way, and I notice this with a lot of red states in particular. Whenever people need help, they're like the first people to vote against it. They're the first people to vote against people getting help and say that we can't afford it. And then, when a hurricane blows through, they're like, please, please donate, please help. Of course, it's not all of the people in Florida. I mean, it's called a battleground state for a reason. There are people with different, with different values all throughout the state. But it's just something, especially the state's leadership with DeSantis. Um, DeSantis is infamous for, basically, I really don't want that puppy to end up underneath my tire. Yeah. I mean, the guy walking the dog is an idiot, but I'm not going to penalize the dog. Shout out to Lutch. Lutch is going through a little bit of emotional melancholy right now. With the failing health of his long-term friend. Who? Oh, Talia, how you doing? Oh, you changed your avatar. Thank you for hitting the like button too. Appreciate you. Morty has been a staple of his life and also of his podcast, the Indian Jesus podcast. And his dog is in failing health right now, and you wouldn't know it by like the video that Lutz showed of like him walking his dog, and his dog is just interested in smelling all the things and got a lot of pep in his step, but to like know like his heart is failing and stuff. I really don't want to see Lutz in the emotional pain that oh wow, legal left-hand turn. A legal left-hand turn from the wrong lane. About to hit a bicyclist. Oh, I love it. I love it. But yeah, I feel bad for Lutch, man. Lutch, basically for the most part he's a loner. He gets his parasocial uh interactions, online, through his podcasts and stuff like that. But for the most part, he has Morty, and obviously I want to be there for the guy, but he's not the type to like really want to like, hey, let's visit, hey, let's get on the phone. He lives his life with his dog, and he deals with dogs on a professional level as well. Training dogs, and I just don't know like how that's gonna like affect him emotionally. I'm a little worried for Lutch. I'm a little bit worried. He still is taking the death of his friend, which I think is now over 10 years ago. He's still taking that pretty hard. And, you know, I think a couple of years ago I suggested something about Morty's health and him getting older and stuff like that. And he snapped at me so hard, and I meant no disrespect, but he's like, don't even think about talking about, my dog passing away. And it's like, well, the problem is that's the reality for almost everybody. They don't live as long as we do, as much as we like them to. And in most cases, we are going to outlive our pets. And I have very limited exposure to having pets. And the loss of those pets, whether I wanted them in my house or not, was still devastating to me. So I can only imagine, the people who put their heart and souls into a cat like JD or a dog like Lutch, since, they were kittens and puppies. And, you have to basically, take care of them all their lives. And then you're still caring for them, but then it turns into palliative care. So, I, it's,
Catherine says yes, unless you have a turtle.
yeah. Yeah, I guess, depending on what kind of turtle it is. Or how hungry you get.
They make it to 180 years or more.
Well, it depends on the turtle. And of course, how hungry you get. So, it's, I don't know. I kind of feel for people going through stuff right now. Oh, wow. This cab driver let me make my turn. Holy crap. Yeah, he's probably German. He's got to be German. That's going to be the long running joke. Anybody that does something sensible and unselfish on the road, probably from Germany. Um, so yeah, you know, just trying to make it, y'all. Um, just gonna let this inflammation in my knee run its course, and hopefully I can ramp things back up and feel strong again. um, I guess I have to talk about my New York Mets because this is like the only place I can really talk about them. Um, it's been a frustrating life being a New York Mets fan. I'm pretty sure anybody who knows baseball or the reputation of the franchise probably understands what that is. Normally, we are the laughing stocks of the league, and we inhabit the same city as the most successful baseball team. Actually, the most successful team, sports team in North America, and probably in all of the world. And so, we get big broed by the Yankees and all of that, and that's fine. I've learned to live with that. I mean, we could win the next 10 championships and we would still have half of the amount that the Yankees have. Uh, Actually, still less than half the amount. We can win 10 years in a row and still only have 12 championships to the Yankees 27, right? So this is not, me talking shit about, the Yankees, although I could talk a lot of shit about their entitled fans. But this year was supposed to be a transition year. Max Scherzer basically outed the New York Mets front office as saying, the reason why he accepted a trade when he has a no trade clause is because they weren't really trying to win the World Series this year. And so he said, well, trade me to a place where they still think that they can win. And they traded him to the Texas Rangers, who won the World Series without him because he got hurt. And, I was a season ticket holder. My dad died this year. I could not afford the ticket payments and all of that. And I had to drop out of the program. But before I dropped out of the program, the New York Mets front office thought it was a good idea to send out emails threatening people not to drop their season tickets, and they basically did this or else thing. And then they took away a bunch of different perks. And then I guess they're going to try to give the perks back if you do what they want you to do, which didn't make a whole lot of sense to me because a lot of the people that I know wasn't really like buying any of that. So what the people that I know still downgraded their ticket packages, or they come on guy, the world does not revolve around you. Goodness gracious. Good God. People are so fucking frustrating. You know what? I'm gonna take this spot right here. That dude was really thirsty for no reason. So the
I think I'm having a sympathy.
oh man, we don't need that. We don't need that.
My knee is like, oh, his knee hurts. I'm like, gosh.
So let me make sure you have the key. We weren't really expecting the Mets to really do anything. They didn't make any big signings in the offseason. They made a lot of depth, a lot of, fill up the farm system type of moves. They tried to get guys who were coming off of like down years and, maybe guys that weren't strong in one area, but were strong in other areas. And then they signed JD Martinez, who has been an all-star, a perennial all-star, a masher, a guy that hits for good average and all of that. But nobody wanted him because they thought that, he would start to fall off. So the Mets tried to get him on the cheap, and largely succeeded in that to a degree, but then he actually did fall off pretty badly, in fact, to the point where I think that he should not be on the roster right now. Why am I saying on the roster right now? Well, the New York Mets are still playing baseball. Now, we've entered the postseason. We've entered the postseason, and the Mets are still playing. How did we get here? Well, the Mets started the season by losing their first 5 games. And if I'm not mistaken, they might be only like the second or third team in the history of the league to start the season with 5 losses and still make the playoffs. Now, if we're being, honest, you know, there used to only be 4 playoff spots, and the Mets were number 6. So in past years, they would not have made the playoffs, even with their really good record. Since June 1st, the Mets have the best record in the entire league, both National and American League. They moved Francisco Lindor from the third spot in the batting order to lead off. Nimmo, he fell off with his average. He used to be a 300 hitter. Now he's a 200 hitter. Just all around guys that you expected to have, even if they just have like an average season for themselves, should have been good. And they were trash. McNeil, trash. Nimmo, trash. Beatty, they thought he was going to take over as a young player, a really good young player that was highly touted. Lost his confidence and didn't hit. They brought in a guy who was supposed to be a defensive liability in Mark Vientos, who also didn't hit when he came up last year. They changed some stuff around. Their star pitcher Senga got hurt. I mean, everything that you could think of. Okay, the team has 22 wins and 33 losses through 55 games. This team is going nowhere. They're going to be sellers at the deadline. They're going to be sending this player to that team who's going to contend, and they're going to send this player over there, and they're all going to go win the World Series with some other team while we suck like we always do. But for whatever reason, they went on this crazy hot streak like 2 weeks before the trading deadline. And they convinced the front office that they could still make the playoffs. So they didn't trade away a lot of their good players, and they kind of like held it down. They got, their bullpen was like really bad. So they went and tried to get some relievers from other teams. And so, hey, this guy throws 99 miles an hour. This guy, has a really good earned run average. That guy can do this. Let's try to get him in here, show up the bullpen, see if we can stitch the starting pitching together, and maybe we can score some runs. Well, the Mets started scoring runs in bunches. There were times where the offense completely disappeared and did absolutely nothing. And it was really starting to look like, whatever opportunities they thought that they would have, they were probably going to fall short. And so, you get to the final couple of weeks of the season. The Mets just continued to win. The Braves were winning, but not at the rate that the Atlanta Braves. They were winning, but they weren't winning at the rate that the Mets were winning. And the Braves have some pretty serious injury issues themselves, with Ronald Acuna Jr. going down with another serious knee injury early on in the year. So they weren't like their best selves. But we caught up to them, and then we started to lose games that we didn't need to lose. And we had a chance to really advance, up the rankings to get, a more firm hold on the playoffs. And we just started losing games very late, losing games we should have won. Offense, goes into the shitter. We get a game, I believe it was against the Toronto Blue Jays, where some guy that I'd never heard of basically no-hit us. We were about to go down in history, another victim of getting 0 hits. And Lindor leads off the 9th inning. We were down 1-0. Lindor leads off the 9th inning with a mammoth home run. And we're like, I can't believe that this happened. He lost his no-hitter. He lost his shutout. and a chance at a win because he was pulled from the game as soon as he gave up the home run, all in one fell swoop. And it really started to look like the Mets were just going to fall a game or two short of the playoffs. The Mets ended up scoring 5 more runs after that home run. I think Francisco Alvarez hit a 3-run shot or a grand slam, something like that, to ice the game. And it was a miracle win. Got a couple more wins that we didn't think we were going to get. And then when the chips were down, they went into Atlanta. They shit the bed. They looked scared to play. They looked like a scared team that knew that they were going to go into their house of horrors in Atlanta, and they played like they knew they were going to lose, and they got beat the fuck up. And then Hurricane Helene started making its way towards the Gulf Coast, and they, instead of having the teams, hurry up and play, a couple of games, the Braves front office thought it would be a better idea to make them play a double header on the one off day between the regular season and the playoffs. And they figured, well, we just won't play the games if one of us is already eliminated by then. Well, the Mets went on to play the Brewers, and instead of winning the games they needed to win, they lost a couple of games that should not have lost. And the offense basically disappeared. The pitching was really good. The offense was like, whatever. So it ended up in a situation where there was a 3-way tie between the Arizona Diamondbacks, the New York Mets, and the Atlanta Braves. And so because the Mets did not take care of business, they had to fly from Milwaukee to Atlanta. If the Mets won both games, they would make the playoffs, and the Arizona Diamondbacks would come in. If they got swept, which I was expecting, the Mets would go home, and the Diamondbacks would be in the playoffs, and the Braves would be in the playoffs. The Mets looked like they were going to lose game 1 and then pull off, I think, 3 different comebacks in the same game. To this day, I still can't believe what I saw. We were in Berlin at the time, and so I'm up watching the shit, and it's like, the time was like 6 hours difference, So it was like nighttime for us, but it was like daytime for them. And I'm like, wow, we're about to lose this game. Edwin Diaz, he gives it up after, the second comeback. How the fuck we came back, just don't know. Take the game 1. That means that we're locked into the playoffs. The Arizona Diamondbacks are like, okay, Mets, we need you to continue to keep winning so we can get in. The Mets hitters were like, yo, we got places to be. The Mets didn't see more than like 3 pitches in any at bat. They got shut out. They were like, yo, we don't even care. We made the playoffs. They basically gave the game away to the Braves, which allowed them to make the playoffs. Diamondbacks weren't happy. Mets went back. They went from Milwaukee to Atlanta to play the doubleheader. And then because they made the 6th seed, they had to go back to Milwaukee. And I expected us to have a bunch of stolen bases on us for us to look like an amateur team and then get kicked out. Nope. The Mets just ground out wins that I just didn't think that they would grind out. And they ended up in the League Division Series, playing, again, a better team in the Phillies. And, they won game 1. They lost game 2 in a game that they were leading like 3-0, 3 or 4-0. and they gave that game up. I'm like, oh, here it comes. They go back home. They win game 3 pretty handily, looking like professionals. And then they go to game 4, and I'm just like, okay, what are we gonna do? They load the bases in the first inning, scored no runs. Load the bases in the second inning, scored no runs. They're really on Ranger Suarez's head. They are on his head. Can't get a run. Give up a run on Vientos' fielding error because he tried to throw the baseball before he got it in his hand. And then we're down 1-0. I was like, oh, so this is how we lose. Load the bases again. And it's like, yo, can we get a ground ball double play that scores a run so we can at least just tie the game and not feel like we're about to lose? Well, Lindor steps to the plate and blasts a home run in the right center field gap. Oh, man. And then the bullpen white knuckles it to a series win. Didn't have to go back to Philadelphia. I was like, if we don't win this game right here, we're absolutely losing the series in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia was like, oh, all the pressure's on them because if they come back to Philadelphia, they don't want to come back to Philadelphia. And Francisco Lindor hits a grand slam off a 99-mile-an-hour fastball on the outside corner and yanks it into the right center field bullpen. That's just crazy. So we're still alive. I can't believe it. I can't believe we're still alive. I'm just gonna ride this out and hope that the Dodgers and the Padres beat each other up. So as a fan, I'm really happy. And as a content creator, I'm happy that you guys supported me today. Thank you so much for watching. Keep working hard. Overcome the obstacles. There are always going to be some. And I'll see you guys on Saturday for 166. Peace.